Now, a wrestler's finishing move should be the most special move in their entire arsenal. The issue is that it's very hard for a wrestler to come up with a unique move for their finisher that fans have never seen before. This usually means that wrestlers could use a move that was made famous by another wrestler.
Once again, Rollins with another pedigree!
But there's an unwritten rule in wrestling that they must ask for permission from that wrestler to use the move in question. However, that doesn't always happen and can result in bad blood between those two wrestlers. Which wrestler was really angry that their finishing move had been stolen? Well, join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 times wrestlers were unhappy with their finisher being stolen. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 1. Chris Jericho and The Miz. In 2001, Chris Jericho debuted a short-lived finisher known as the Breakdown. It would in essence be a half Nelson into a facebuster, and the finisher was notable for winning Jericho his first world title at the 2001 No Mercy pay-per-view. However, the finisher would quickly be retired and Jericho would stick to the walls of Jericho, the Lion Salt, and then later the Codebreaker for the rest of his career. The Miz would use the Breakdown finisher 5 years later upon his debut in 2006, and it would rename the move
Skull-crushing finale!
and managed to make it more famous as a result. Jericho, however, appeared to have a problem with The Miz using the move. During the 2019 TLC pay-per-view, Jericho would respond to a fan who claimed that The Miz had stolen Jericho's entire gimmick. Jericho replied with, "He stole everything else, so whatevs." Fans quickly realized what Jericho was referring to, and numerous fans questioned why Jericho suddenly had an issue with The Miz using Jericho's old finisher, almost a decade later. Number 2. Billy Kidman and Paul London.
And you're going to see the champ. Oh! Suicide move.
Billy Kidman had one of the best looking finishers of all time. His shooting star press is legendary and some say it's the greatest version of the move in wrestling history. Kidman, however, had huge issues when another wrestler tried using the move. This was Paul London, and he would reveal during an interview on the Pancakes and Power Slam show that, "I remember we were working, I think Matt Hardy and Shannon Moore in New York, and I decided that we could start doing something where Brian Kendrick is on all fours and I run jump off his back and do a shooting star press off his back. So we started doing that in the matches and it was getting really good reactions, how we were using them. And I remember Billy Kidman coming up to me and he said, 'Hey man, you're gonna steal my move every night? You're gonna keep stealing my move every night?' I just looked at him and said, 'Do you do a running shooting star off the back?' He goes, well no, but I go, well, yeah." Number 3. Chris Jericho and The Revival.
Where's the sky? Oh! Codebreaker! Taking advantage of the distraction. Shatter Machine!
The Revival's finishing move is called the Shatter Machine. The move features a flapjack into a codebreaker and is one of the best looking double team finishers in all of wrestling. Chris Jericho, who uses the codebreaker as a finishing move, had a major issue with the Revival using the move back in 2016. Taken to Twitter, Jericho would state, "Always nice to see the indie kids disrespecting the ones who came before them. Hashtag keep it up." This led to NXT General Manager William Regal responding with, "The tens of thousands of us that came before you are all thankful you invented everything, Chris. Again, thank you." Number 4. Bret Hart, Stone Cold, and The Rock. Now, most of us know that Bret Hart is one of the most opinionated figures in all of wrestling. After all, Hart was the guy that rated the legendary match between The Undertaker and Triple H at WrestleMania 28 a 4 out of 10. Speaking to Fightful in 2020, Hart would reveal that he wasn't a fan of Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock using his iconic sharpshooter because they always executed it poorly. Hart stated, "I can tell you the ones that have the worst easier. I know Steve Austin had a hard time putting it on, so did The Rock. They would tell you that themselves. You think when you look at it, you go, oh, I can put that on, but you gotta think about it and gotta know how to put it on to appreciate it." Yeah, a lot of guys, even the Screwjob, I had to yell up at Sean as he was putting it on. I had to yell up, "You're putting it on backwards." Then if you watch, he switches. So I actually helped him put the final Screwjob on right. I think Sting always put it on. The Scorpion Deathlock and the Sharpshooter are basically the same thing. So Sting was always a real pro. He put it on as well as anybody. If anything, he had it first, I think. Number 5. Kenny Omega and Seth Rollins. In 2016, Vince McMahon decided to ban Seth Rollins from using the curb stomp. He believed that the move looked unsafe and it was going to lead to numerous concussions on the WWE roster. As a replacement for the curb stomp, Rollins would use the pedigree, a move made famous by Triple H, and it made perfect sense as Rollins was in an ongoing program with Triple H at the time. However, following WrestleMania 33, the feud was over, meaning Rollins needed a new finisher. He opted to use a knee to the head as his finishing move, which was the exact same as Kenny Omega's finisher, the V-trigger. Omega appeared to be annoyed by wrestlers using the move.
Don't you feel sorry?
He went on to tweet out, "Well, at least I still have my entrance music." Omega did follow it up with a tweet saying, "To clarify, I'm not upset. The thievery of late is blatant, funny, but anyone is free to put their own spin on stuff. I'll be out doing the same." The tweet was received negatively by fans as it obviously had a sarcastic manner to it. Number 6. Kurt Angle, Randy Orton, and Jack Swagger. Kurt Angle has solidified himself as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. However, there was a period when Angle was in an extremely dark place, and as a result, this made him extremely bitter and negative towards WWE. In 2012, Angle had an issue with Randy Orton using the Angle Slam and Jack Swagger using the Ankle Lock submission. Angle would state, "When Jack Swagger copies my Ankle Lock and Randy Orton does my Angle Slam, it's disrespectful. I didn't come up with the Ankle Lock. Ken Shamrock came up with the Ankle Lock, but I waited until he retired to do the Ankle Lock. That company has no respect for me." Number 7. John Cena and Tyler Rex. In 2010, WWE decided to push half a dozen young talents.
I'm Tyler Rex, and I'm your new breakout superstar.
One of these talents was Tyler Rex. Rex would be a tall, imposing figure who certainly had the right look to appeal to Vince McMahon. However, his push quickly fizzled out, and it would be revealed during an episode of the Sean Ross podcast that Rex having a finishing move similar to John Cena's could be the reason for Rex's sudden loss of a push. Ross revealed, "Tyler Rex told me a story one time about how he went through the curtain after doing his inverted Death Valley driver, the Burning Hammer, and John Cena didn't go off on him, but was like, 'What is that? That's too similar to my move. Don't do it again.' And I have actually heard that about multiple people as it pertains to John Cena and their finishing move, but if it looks similar to his, then he was like, 'Don't do it.'" Number 8. Goldberg and Roman Reigns. Goldberg is a wrestler who seems to blur the lines between kayfabe and reality. Goldberg often takes his profession too seriously, and he sometimes works himself into a shoot. This had occurred on numerous occasions, most recently when Goldberg would take issue with Reigns using the spear as his finishing move.
From Goldberg, spear! Spear! Oh, God!
It's worth noting that Goldberg has publicly declared that he has an issue with Reigns using the move, even when Goldberg isn't working in Angle at the time. Goldberg revealed on the bump that he backed out on me at WrestleMania. He stole my move God knows how long ago, and he continues to perform it at a subpar level. Let's be perfectly honest, I'm the dude who delivers a spear, and I don't think he understands what it's like until I deliver one to him. So Roman, it's coming, and I'm coming for you. I may be old, I may be grey, but I'm still Goldberg. Number 9. Kenta and CM Punk. The Go to Sleep was made famous in North America by CM Punk using the move in WWE. However, in Japan it was made famous by Kenta using the move. Punk would notably borrow the move, however it was unclear if Punk ever asked Kenta to use it. Taken to Twitter in 2020, Kenta would tweet out a video of him executing a GTS. He would caption the tweet with, "This is my very first Go to Sleep," before someone used in WWE. Kenta's follow-up tweet contained more profanity, and a fan replied to his tweet with a gif of CM Punk. Kenta would reply with, "I don't give a f***, and let me tell you one more fact. I always open my arms for that someone pay royalties to me." And number 10. Stone Cold and John Cena. In 2015, John Cena began to heavily expand his moveset. One of the moves Cena added to his repertoire was a springboard stunner move.
What the?
This move was obviously done to pay tribute to Stone Cold Steve Austin and his legendary stunner. Austin, however, had a big issue with the move, and the issue related to how Cena was using the move as a transitional move and very rarely as an actual finishing move. Speaking on his podcast, Austin revealed, "It's such a dynamic move and it requires such precision and timing. Because his foot could slip on that rope, guys are wearing baby oil, they're sweating, anything could happen, so the move is very precise. But when you hit that move, why don't you establish it and get a couple of 3 counts out of it? So then when Rusev kicks out of it, or whomever kicks out of it, if they do, it means something. So they could have had another ace up his sleeve had he actually beaten people with it. My point is, had they looked further down the road than the short term, you would have had a real valid great badass finish than just a setup which now means nothing. Well, there you have it guys, 10 times wrestlers were unhappy with their finisher being stolen. Should a wrestler ask permission to use an established move? Let us know in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.